there have been a number of like just purely made up things, and this is one of the more egregious purely made up things. What happened in this instance, Chris, is that somebody literally went and pulled a picture of my client with a young lady that was several years old.
That they found now, and again, this could cut three different ways. They found evidence of water in tissue and cavities consistent with drowning.
Why didn't they get the phone done themselves? Why didn't they go have a forensics team look at the phone? So why is Ben Crump not here in Florida, in Ben Crump's home state, holding press conferences for this gentleman that lost his life from partying with friends on the back of a boat? Is it because he was partying with people of his own color? So Nolan's phone has still not been turned over or looked at to see if any of the snap messages were deleted. Plus, Katie's story, that is the big contradiction. Out of everybody's stories in this situation, it actually has been Katie's. And if you haven't realized it, I'm going to tell you why it's been her story. And plus, Bart's attorney is actually speaking out. He talks about lawsuits, who got the first defamation lawsuit, and this person even changed their story. Plus, Officer Tatum's going back to Mississippi even for more interviews. So far, he's actually been the only one going there to really investigate what's going on when talking to the other side. Plus, there's more. We're going to talk about another person who unfortunately lost their life off a boat, partying with friends. But is the reason why Ben Crump is not over there hooping and hollering because there's no narrative? Let's get to it. Fugitive TV. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel, and what we do here is we take a look at cases of missing individuals, any unsolved crime, any true crime, and what we do is we give it a deep perspective and sometimes even a different type of look. Because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I ran for 15 years, living in different countries under different names, eventually turned myself in. Now I assist in family members locating missing individuals or even sometimes fugitives who are on the run from the law because, hey, I know what it takes to vanish because I did it for so long. Well, we are once again back on Nolan Wells. I was out of town. Dealing with a case matter, actually, because somebody needed my assistance. So I went out of town for a little bit. My whole plan was actually to come back and work on and talk about another case. But every time I get ready to mention another case to you guys, I have to do more research on Nolan Wells because, you know, I get emails or I get tips. So I got to spend the time to do the research. And you guys, I thought Nancy Guthrie's case took a lot of time, and it still takes time, but Nolan Wells is pretty much almost right there. Every day I get new information or I come across new information, then I got to spend 2 to 3 hours just to make sure this information is real, false, yes, somebody's lying, or if it's true. It has been ridiculous. Well, there is some information with Nolan Wells dealing with his cell phone. We are going to talk about that because the whole big thing about this really was the cell phone. So we're going to talk about that. And there's some questions. Every one of these videos, I always have questions, always. Plus, Katie, so far, her story is really, when you think about the actual evidence and timelines that are on paper, her story is the only one that seems to contradict. So somebody is lying when it comes to, or they're not telling the truth when it comes to her side of the story. Now, we don't know who it is, but the stories aren't adding up. And we're going to talk about that. Plus, Bart's attorney, okay, Mr. Latino, is speaking out as well. He talks about a defamation lawsuit. So we're going to get into that. He's talking about suing content creators, which, hey, I don't blame him, especially if Bart didn't do anything. I do not blame him, okay? And we're also going to get into some things that when the story first came out has been debunked, all right? And I myself, even when the story first came out, thought that this was real because I didn't have enough time to, to look to see if it was real or not. Well, now I know it's not real. So we're going to talk about that. But first, let's get into the whole cell phone thing. All right. Nolan Wells' cell phone. Now, we all know that his mom said his cell phone was at the friend's house. Okay. And plus, Warren even said that on an interview with Officer Tatum. Now, the one thing I do find very interesting, here's a question again. Warren, during the interview with Officer Tatum, called Javon, who is a friend of the family of Nolans on Nolan's mom's side, all right? He had to call Javon to get Nolan's mom's number. And I'm always going to have this question of why didn't Javon just call his mom? I'm always going to have that question. I would love somebody to clear that up. But he got the number from Javon, and then Warren actually called Christine himself. And they spoke, and then Warren actually went and called the Coast Guard to report Nolan missing. Technically, Warren is the first person to realize Nolan was missing, to make a call, to be concerned. Warren is the one who actually initiated everything. And from then, it was a trickle effect. But Warren even told Christine on the phone that, hey, we got his phone. So why did Christine never mention that in any of these interviews? I don't know. But I can't seem to find an interview to where she's actually mentioned, hey, Warren did tell me the phone was over here. No, the whole thing came out with they had to search for the phone to find out where it was at. Now, could she have maybe been distraught and not listened? It's possible. It is possible. Okay. But I would like for at least a person who interviews her to get that clear, because I would like to hear what she has to say about that. It's like some people are just scared to ask certain questions. I don't get it. When you're interviewing people, don't be scared. You are the interviewer. Even if the question hurts the other person, you are trying to get the story. Your job as a journalist to get the story. It doesn't matter whose feelings you're hurting. You have to get the story. That is your job as the journalist. Okay. But some people, what they'll do is they will submit, hey, only ask me these questions. That happens a lot of times behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know. So you go to ask questions and maybe you're not allowed to ask them. This happens a lot of times with political figures. Political figures will go into a panel, or not a panel, but a station, be interviewed by somebody, and the political figure will give them the questions. Here, ask this. Also, they will submit a form of questions you cannot ask. That happens a lot too. So that's a little thing behind the scenes a lot of people don't know about. His mom, Nolan's mom, had to go and find the phone through Life 360 and Snapchat. We know the whole story, right? And then Nolan's mom sent her friend to go get the phone. And then when the phone finally got back to Nolan's mom checked Snapchat. Now, a lot of people, I still see this going around. Some people are saying this whole phone was wiped, text messages. Guys, no, she's talking about Snapchat. All right. And she said both accounts. So she said she checked the Snapchat, but didn't see anything. So now she's allegedly saying that things have been deleted based off of prior experience of seeing Nolan on his cell phone, always on Snapchat. So that's why she's saying that. Now, so far, there's no evidence of it, but she's saying that based off her prior knowledge of him being on the cell phone. That doesn't mean anything, though, because it's still not proof. Well, we all want answers what happened to Nolan. The whole Ben Crump campaign has been going on for every press conference. Justice for Nolan. We all want to know what happened to Nolan. We all want answers, which is true. We all do. We all want to find out what happened to Nolan so we can start closing his case down and then move on to the next one. But the whole cell phone thing, they were supposed to meet with people to look at his cell phone and extract information from the cell phone together. So that way they both can see it at the same time. Well, guys, it has still not happened. Another thing, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Crump went on a press conference and said, yes, we're going to do it, but now we want to do it together with his phone and everybody else's phone. God, just what is it? What do you want? Here's the thing: if you go, you put his phone, you give him their phone, whatever it is, you extract the information from his phone. If it does show that information was deleted and it shows at a time when Nolan didn't have his phone, then you automatically have some sort of foul play going on. You don't even need other people's phone to figure this out. You just need his phone. So that made no sense to me. But they still have not turned over the phone or even collaborated together to get the extraction data from the phone.
There were a lot of Snapchat messages that were deleted. They also found that there were some texts deleted. So that was very concerning to them as they're trying to figure out, what happened to our child is, and we have no answers. Nobody's telling us anything.
Now, some people were asking, hey, can you actually get messages from Snapchat even once they've been deleted? A lot of people don't really know about how this works, okay? So I'm going to explain it to you real quickly and also as simple as I can. Now, for you people that don't know what Snapchat is an app that you download on your phone. You send somebody a message either by typing, you can send videos, you can send pictures. The way Snapchat works is once that person opens up the message, if they don't have the save functions or the save tab saved on there to like go save your message permanently or for a certain amount of time, Snapchat will delete it instantly. Some cases after 24 hours, it just all depends on how you have the settings. But Snapchat basics main function was made so people can send each other discrete messages and it deletes. But you still can get information from Snapchat server, but not only that, your own cell phone. So this is why it's important of why they should be turning over the phone to get messages, because there is a timeline going on here, especially from the Snapchat server. Now, this says deleted Snapchat messages can sometimes be recovered for litigation, but only within narrow windows. Unopened one-on-one snaps are deleted from Snap servers after 31 days. Unopened group snaps after just 7 days, and open snaps are typically deleted once viewed. Recovery depends on acting fast and knowing where else the evidence lies. So if somebody sent a snap and it was not open, it will stay on Snapchat servers for 31 days, approximately a month. And we, folks, it's already August 10th, so we're past that month, right? Now, what can happen, though, is they can subpoena Snapchat to hold that evidence for a certain amount of days. I believe it's 90 days, but I'm not sure. But then once that 90 days is up, they're going to have to resubmit another form to get an extra extension, which they will grant one time. And if not, then it gets deleted. Then it goes on to say Snapchat's designed for, but deleted from app and gone forever are not the same thing. Based on Snap's published retention practices, open snaps deleted from servers after all recipients have viewed them. Unopened one-on-one snaps deleted after 31 days. And then the group snaps, like I told you about, are deleted after 7. All right. Stories are available 24 hours. Users can delete earlier. Memory snaps cloud storage retained until the user deletes it. This is often the richest evidence source. So you will upload something to Snapchat. Snapchat will actually keep a file of what you upload. And then later on, you go to open up your app and it'll show a memory. Some of you guys have this feature on your phone, your Facebook. You see these memories pop back up. All right. That means they kept it. They have this in their storage. All right. Now, the 4 places deleted Snapchat evidence actually survives: the recipient's device, screenshots, screen recordings, and saved in chat messages live on phones, not Snapchat servers. Device level discovery is usually more productive than a subpoena to Snap. Snapchat memories. Anything a user saved to a memory persists indefinitely. Users routinely forget that they saved. Snap servers is preserved if preserved in time. Law enforcement can issue preservation requests under, then it gives you the penal code, which holds available records for 90 days. So I was right, 90 days. Now, this is extendable once for another 90 days. Civil litigations face a harder path. So civil litigations face a harder path. Now, Ben Crump is not a criminal attorney. He's civil. So his rules are going to be a little different when it comes to him trying to subpoena any of this evidence. Then you have the My Data download. Every Snapchat user can request their own account data expert, a critical tool when your own client's account is at issue because it requires no legal process at all. Then you have civil versus criminal, two very different recovery paths. In criminal matters, law enforcement can serve preservation requests and search warrants directly on Snap through its law enforcement portal. In civil litigation, the Stored Communications Act generally bars Snap from producing messages content in response to a civil subpoena. Civil attorneys instead rely on preservation letters to opposing parties. Litigation holds device discovery and party-driven data exports. Now, guys, this explains why these letters, remember those court documents? Those letters that were sent to the kid, like Warren's mom and them. Remember those letters that were sent that were saying, that said, do not delete evidence such as Snap, messages, Instagram, Facebook. Remember that? So Ben Crump sent letters out to them saying, don't delete that. This is a preservation agreement of letters. I forgot the term that it was used, but he sent that out to them saying, hey, you cannot delete this stuff. So it tells you right here, Ben Crump cannot go to Snapchat himself and say, I need to see all this because it's civil on his part. So what he had to do was send out letters to a third party so they can't delete what they have on their stuff. And you guys, here is an example from a device, okay? Your device keeps a log every time you even power on and off your device. So you can see right here, now this is an older log. It says from January 2022 on the 8th, and it gives you the time. It actually gives you the time. This says 6:51 a.m. on shutdown, and then it tells you on here. So it gives you a log, all right? Every time you shut down, turn on your phone. So your actual phone device keeps a better log of information on your phone, such as when things are deleted and when things are added, than actually subpoenaing Snapchat or even some of these servers themselves. One of my questions is, they haven't turned the phone over. And as you see, they're on the timeline, especially when it comes to criminal. They haven't turned the phone over to get it, extracted, because they want to be there too. And now they're saying they want to be there with the other kids' phones. Well, the one question I do have is, why didn't they get the phone done themselves? Why didn't they go have a forensics team look at the phone? You guys, you don't really need a legal department of cell phone forensics to do this to the phone. You can hire somebody yourself to do this on the phone. And then you can just, get all the information you want and then present it to the DA, the lead investigator, and say, hey, look, this is the information I have. Trust me, I know. I'm working on a couple cases right now where I'm talking to investigators firsthand, to where any information I'm getting, I'm just sending it over to them. And then they're going to verify if it's real, if it's good or not, or whatever. But I know this for a fact because I'm currently doing it personally myself. So why haven't they done this? Not only why haven't they done this, in my eyes, it would be good. Because let's think about this way, guys. People are hollering about there could be a cover-up in the investigation, right? This is what some people are saying. It could be a cover-up. How do we know they're doing to do what they say? Well, this is one thing where you could do to put, this part of the investigation in your own hands. Meaning, you hire an outside person to do this. Think about it. They hired an outside person to do a private autopsy. If you can hire somebody to do that, you can hire somebody to dissect your phone. So they hired somebody to do a private autopsy to try and determine the cause of death. But he couldn't determine it because the throat and some of the organs are missing because the first person who did the autopsy had to keep them for standard procedures sometimes because they're doing more forensics on the body. So they took control themselves of hiring a private examiner for that. Why not hire somebody privately to distract the information from the phone? Because once you have the information, we all know if something's gone wrong, what do you think Ben Crump's going to do? You think he's going to sit back on it? No. He's going to go have a meeting. He's going to go out there and have a live press conference like he's been doing with some stuff that's not even true, like the pool party or the person yelling from the boat saying, give me my effing phone, when he said it was Nolan, but it wasn't. It was Trayson. So we know that he will actually go out there and do a press conference of it and let the whole world know, hey, these messages were deleted at this time. Now we all have like, oh, okay, all right. Where was his phone at again? It wasn't with him and these messages were deleted. Oh, who had his, you get it? And just so you guys can be like, oh, you can't hire nobody to do this. Yes, you can. Look, all you gotta do is Google. Google's your friends, guys. Contact mobile device forensics for legal teams. Preserve, process, present mobile evidence, ready for court. Okay? Mobile Rev specializes in forensic mobile data, contradiction, and analysis for attorneys, corporate counsel, and compliance teams. We deliver mobile evidence that meets strict legal and it goes evidentiary standards. Talk to a forensic expert. And guys, that's my first time seeing this site. Never saw it before in my life. I just Googled, this one pop up. Now these guys should give me some credit for putting their name out there. But purpose, built for legal matters. Mobile Rev is not a data recovery service for lost messages or personal backups. We are a forensics partner for attorneys, litigation supports teams, and corporate counsel who need mobile device evidence preserved, extracted, and reported in a court admissible form. You guys get that? Did you get that? Mobile Rev is not a data recovery service for lost messages or personal backups. We are a forensic partner for attorneys, meaning you can't just contact them saying, hey, I need this done because my husband's cheating on me. No, this has to be for legal procedures through an attorney. All right. So you guys answer me this question. Why hasn't he chosen to get this done? I'm not an attorney and I know you can do this. So why hasn't he done that? I just have questions. Because there's some things are not adding up. And I'm going to bring this up again for the third time. Let's go back to the Trey Reed incident. Trey Reed is the individual who was found hanging from a tree in Mississippi. I believe he went to Delta University, if I remember. And I actually did a video on Trey Reed. All right. And people were suspecting it was foul play. It was race motivated, all kind of things. And another person was found from a tree. I believe, if I remember correctly, I don't remember if it was the same day or the same week. And some people are running with the narrative on TikTok, Instagram, that, oh my God, somebody's out there doing it to all black folks because Trey Reed was black. Come to find out, the second individual wasn't even black. They were white. Nobody bothered to go look at the second individual. He was a white guy. So that narrative of somebody's doing all black folks went out the window. All right. Ben Crump took that story over and pretty much did the same thing with that story that he's doing with this one. Hired Colin Kaepernick to do an independent autopsy. And guess what? Now Trey Reed's family is saying Ben Crump left them high and dry. They are saying that they never got the results from the private autopsy that was done back in September, guys, almost a year ago. Next month's going to be a year. The Trey Reed's family saying they never got results from the private autopsy. Ben Crump got those results, has never mentioned a word, and just doesn't answer the phone or anything, and he is gone. Why? Did those results come back as in there was no foul play? Then not only that, Trey Reed's girlfriend allegedly is saying that Trey Reed sent her messages saying that he was going to self-delete. That was never mentioned. So it just makes me wonder, if that narrative was getting ran on that story, how do we know it's not getting ran on this one? I mean, we all see the evidence for it, right? Let's talk about a case that's going on right now that some of you guys don't even know about. And this case is similar. It's about a guy on a boat partying with friends, and guess what? His body ends up in the water. Take a look at this.
Miami police say they have found a body in the water in downtown Miami. Police say the body was found in Biscayne Bay near Brickell Bay Drive and Southeast 15th Road. And according to our news partners at the Miami Herald, this incident is being investigated by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission.
On the water.
And the 23-year-old man went missing after falling off a boat in Biscayne Bay. And last Sunday, authorities found his body floating in the water.
A mother's grief, you can just hear it so clearly. She's just demanding answers, wants to know what happened to her son, who vanished over the weekend while on a boat charter with some friends. 23-year-old Akin Liverpool, nicknamed King, was his mother's best friend. He vanished over the weekend, and this mom says she doesn't have clear answers yet from authorities in an interview given exclusively to Local 10.
I say, please don't leave me. Just stay a little while. That's what I told my son.
Why is it taking law enforcement so long to confirm identity, and why is it taking so long to get answers? I mean, he was last seen on Friday. Today is now Tuesday. We still don't have answers.
Akeem was just a good kid from everything we can see. He was a volunteer, he was a counselor, he was a football coach, he was Mr. Homecoming at Florida Memorial University. We checked in with Miami PD and FWC. Can you tell us anything, any new information since the weekend? They said the investigation is ongoing and active.
Learning new details this evening about what happened on board a boating trip that ended with one man missing and then later found dead. The FWC says that it was supposed to be a birthday party, but now it's a death investigation.
And this is where FWC investigators say that a group of friends met up to board a boat to celebrate a birthday. There were a total of 9 people, including the captain, aboard this boat, but only 8 people returned unharmed.
This individual, what about his life? Why isn't Ben Crump here in his home state of Florida, where I live at, okay? The only state that has water on both sides of the state, both coasts, surrounded by boats and water. We see drowning accidents all the time here, especially when people are partying. So why is Ben Crump not here in Florida, in Ben Crump's home state, holding press conferences for this gentleman that lost his life from partying with friends on the back of a boat? That people don't seem to know what happened. Is it because he was partying with people of his own color? Is it because they were all black, so there's no narrative to push? You get it? You go to his story, read the comments. Nobody's pushing a narrative. Only thing is some people are saying, oh, don't trust his friend. Sounds like he was set up. But nobody's saying, oh, it's because he was black. Nobody's saying that. But if all his friends are white, I bet you, it'd be all over the news. I bet you it would be all over the news. I bet you Ben Crump would have been down here a long time ago before Nolan. You mean to tell me this black man was in Miami partying with a bunch of white folks? The white folks came back and the black man fell off the back of the boat. Something is wrong. It's not adding up. We need answers. You mean to tell me he wouldn't be down here saying these words that I said? So let me know what you guys think. And I figure I bring you this story of Ken because I really don't see a lot of people pushing it, all right? And nobody even knows what happened to him. Now, Katie's story is the one story that is not matching up on paper. We can look at everybody else's story. Now, for example, Warren went and did his interview, all right? Trayston did his interview. If you look at paper, and let's say you look at the GPS coordinates when they left, and if that all adds up and there's no, let's say, cover up from agencies like some people saying there is, all right, their stories align. GPS shows the boat leaving, actually going off at 4:31. The sea tow call was made at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock was when the sea tow call was made. They were already like out kind of in the water when that call was made. They weren't actually on the island, but they're out in the water. Now, do I know exactly how many feet? No, I don't. But they weren't on the island. So, and their account is the last time they saw Nolan, he was cuddling up with Katie. Trayson even said he was cuddling up with Katie. Now, Katie, as far to my knowledge, unless you guys know something different, because like I said, there's so much research and so much BS you have to go through. To my knowledge, I don't think Katie has ever said what time exactly she left. This is the only thing I found of Katie so far. Now, this is from my other video I uploaded 7 days ago, where I post actually, and you can see right here, it's actually a post from Katie. She comments under a Boogie Low Downs post, okay? And Katie puts, this is someone's real life and someone's son, not just something for you to get likes and views on. You don't know me, I don't know you. I can just pray that God heals you in all the places you're broken in, because to speak on something when you weren't even there is absolutely insane. Find God and something better to do than talk about other businesses. Maybe the church or a gym would be a good start. God bless. So far, guys, this is the only thing that I've really ever seen about Katie. So far, I've only seen other people talking about what she did and, you know, things like that. And then you have a post from her sister. Now, some people were thinking this is Katie's mom. No, this is Katie's sister, I believe, after doing my background checks. This is from Gracie. And Gracie says Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Okay, so Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in, meaning she never saw him get on the boat. They were having a conversation and that she assumed he was getting ready to get on that boat. Katie made it home because she was on another boat with different people. Katie was safe because my brother and sister-in-law went and got her. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. Me and my family have talked and called and are sending up prayers to Nolan's home. So me and my family have talked and called, are sending up prayers to Nolan's home. We have given all the answers we can give to his mom and authorities. So that tells you right there, they said they've already spoken to Nolan's mom. Not only that, Nolan's mom even said that she's spoken to Katie. But from Katie's, or I should say Nolan's account, Nolan's mom's account, actually, she said that when she talked to Katie, it was just a hi and bye situation. I guess, hey, how you doing? And then bye. But what did Warren and Trayson say? He was hanging out with Katie in the water, hugging on her. The sister says Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Some things aren't adding up. So Nolan's mom said it was a hi and bye type of thing. Hi and bye. What was more? Just hi, bye, how you doing? Hi as in I know you before, or I don't know you. We need to hear more context with that. Then the sister is saying that there was a conversation and she thought that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat. And the boys are saying they were hanging out in the water, hugging, and whatever else they're doing. Now we know Katie went on a boat, a different boat with different people. Who were these people? Now, there are text messages, okay, that is out there from Katie talking about of her being on a different boat with other people and, you know, things like that. Who are these other people? Did these other people know Nolan? Did Nolan try and get a ride with these other people? These are the questions that it's like nobody wants to look at. Everybody focuses on Warren. They focus on Wyatt. They focus on Bart. They focus on the people who are actually, lawyering up, which we're going to talk about that. But nobody wants to focus on who was Katie and her group of friends. And this is something I don't understand. When it comes to doing these cases, all right, I can see who's really doing true crime, as in who's been doing this for a while, or who just does celebrity gossip. Because it's two different things. Two different things, guys. We all know, those of you who are watching this video that do true crime and really do true crime, we know what's the crime based off of. We go off facts, what we can find that's factual, okay? We try and find evidence that can lead us to solving the crime. When you do celebrity gossip, all that factual goes out the window. All the research can go out the window unless you're researching to start more drama. So you have people that are doing celebrity drama now doing Nolan Wells' case, and they're just used to the drama aspect of it, but they're not used to researching. So it's making people's job, like me, a little harder to try and find what's real and what's fake. Now, speaking of them lawyering up, when I first jumped on this case, I did a couple videos. One was an interview with Janice. Shout out to her. That interview was great. And I did not know a lot about the case because I was late getting onto it because I was reporting on the Siders family with Gary and Elizabeth Siders, and also on Marley Kinney, who's another young lady who lost her life in a boating accident that her family still wants answers. But there's no narrative to push there either because she was white, hanging out with white friends. And I didn't know a lot at first because there's so much BS out there. So at first, when I first got into his case, I'm hearing people saying that the boys, they lawyered up. His Nolan's friends lawyered up, and they're not talking or anything like that. Well, when the evidence dropped, and I'm seeing that the evidence actually dropped, because I have all the evidence, I have the reports, I have everything. They cooperated from day one, that night. Matter of fact, there's a dispatch call. You guys can find it. There's a dispatch call of the police going to Warren's house that same night to talk with them. Right after Warren called the Coast Guard, police go to his house that same night to talk with them. All right? The only one who lawyered up from the start was Warren, but that's because his stepmom is a judge.
So
I got to tell you, and this will upset people. As an attorney, and having done this as long as I have, there's no way you're getting my son's phone. There's no way he's taking any kind of cognitive anything. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I would be suspicious that when you people, meaning law enforcement and the government, if you want to make a case, you're going to make a case. You're just not going to make it on my son. Because he said something that you can take out of context,
Yes.
or he got flummoxed by something, or he has some sense of guilt because he loved this kid. I've got a 20-year-old boy in my house, and I could absolutely, you're not getting it. You want to come, but I'm not giving it to you.
Yes.
I'll tell you that. And I know that sounds like I have something to hide. That's not why I'd be doing it. Even if he said to me, Dad, here's exactly what happened, I'm okay, I'd be like, I understand you're okay. I also understand why they're asking and what they're looking for, and I'm not giving it to you.
You're 1,000%, and I'm the most pro cop person on the planet. But there is no way that anybody should talk to law enforcement without an attorney. Sometimes law enforcement can be shady, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're
allowed to lie. They are
can
allowed
to
to lie.
His stepmom's a judge, so of course she's gonna lawyer up. And and if you guys been following me for a long time on this channel, and I tell you guys this all the time, if you're ever going to get questioned for some sort of criminal activity or crime, I don't care if you did not do it. All right? If you had a friend that did something and they think you did it, even if you're like, oh, I didn't do it, I wasn't there, go get yourself a lawyer first, then go talk with the police or whoever is doing the investigation. Because I have been interrogated before. And I will tell you that sometimes they will spin a narrative on you And they are allowed to lie to you to get you to say something. Just sometimes they can close the case. Because just like how all these people online right now trying to spin narratives, oh, we know this happened and this happened. Some police officers and investigators will do the exact same thing. I know this happened, but they really don't know. I know this happened. And they will try to get you to corroborate with their theory of what happened. And they will do anything they can. Now, I'm not saying all police officers, but what I'm saying, there's a lot of them out there who would do that. This is how you get innocent people arrested. This is how you get innocent people locked up in jail, and then years later, their case gets overturned because of they were tricked into saying something that, hey, they didn't know what they just said, and now they are looked at as a suspect. Happens all the time. You guys watchers cannot tell me you've never heard of somebody innocent that's really innocent getting arrested. And you wonder, well, like, how did they get arrested? And for you people that maybe watching this video that have been arrested, and you're like, I didn't do it. Do you wish you got an attorney first? So I do not blame anybody when they go get an attorney. I do not blame anybody with that, especially when it's dealing with your freedom and you don't want, especially if you know you didn't do anything, you don't want nothing to get pinned on you. So I don't blame them. But Warren got an attorney, yes, because his mom's a judge. They know the law. The rest of didn't get one until recently. So Bart's attorney is now speaking out.
And let's be very clear about the multiple witnesses, because I think there have been some narratives set based on pictures that are not accurate. So very early on, the narrative that was set was we had one picture with Nolan and 3 friends that are white on the back of a boat. And I think a lot of people developed the thought, okay, 4 friends went out on a boat together.
3 came back.
Only 3 came back, and they went to some desolate place. The reality is they went to a place with hundreds of people. There were way more than 4 friends. It was a mixed race group.
So he's talking about defamation lawsuits. Hey, I don't blame him. I don't. Especially when this case is over with and it comes out, they didn't do anything. You have a lot of people that could be facing lawsuits right now because there's no evidence of foul play, just like there's no evidence of that he drowned himself. There is no evidence either or. So because there's no evidence of foul play and there's no evidence of him drowning himself, you have people trying to fill that up with a narrative. They're trying to fill that gap. And instead of giving their theory of what they think could have happened, some people are saying this is fact. The one creator, Kimberly, she took down all her videos that I can see blaming those kids. Now, why would she do that if she knows for a fact they did something? You guys answer me that question. If you know for a fact that somebody did something, why would you take them down if you know for a fact? So she's changing her story now. And there might be some others out there that could be looking at some consequences too. I don't know who, but I don't know.
Comments, and if they don't, I will sue them for the same. That has been your approach. Has it changed the disposition? I know one account responded by saying basically, bring it on, as if they were welcoming of that. What is your assessment of the situation and in response to that?
Yeah, I would say that ultimately issues like this aren't going to get decided on Facebook, but in a court. I would say that same individual did actually take down all of the posts related to my client.
And I can confirm.
While simultaneously inviting us to bring it on.
There is a little birdie that is saying from the early reports of the toxicology, the first one, that it did come back and they are saying there's alcohol in the system. I don't know how much. Now, we all know, don't be shocked. We knew that was going to happen, right? We knew. I mean, they were all out there drinking. And there's reports saying that there is water in the tissues. Now, we don't know how much. I don't know that either. I guess we're going to find out. Okay. But that still does not mean that no foul play was involved. Doesn't mean that Nolan got on another boat got into it and somebody could have pushed him overboard and he drowned. Oh, let's get out of here, guys. It still doesn't mean that he could have been in the water with somebody and drowned, and then that person got scared, just doesn't want to say nothing. There's that case going on right now with the one kid who ended up drowning. They went fishing and the other two got scared and tried to delete everything, so, but then there's no evidence of him going out there in the water trying to use the bathroom to get away from everybody and just drowning himself. Not purposely, but you know what I mean?
I think there are things that I know that the average person doesn't know that are not points of speculation. One, that they found now, and again, this could cut three different ways. They found evidence of water in tissue and cavities consistent with drowning. However, the body was also floating in the water and could have collected water. You could shoot me. I fall in the water. I could have water become the equivalent of ingested. Not that often, but it happens.
Now, Officer Tatum, who did the interview with Warren, he's actually doing another interview out there. Now, I don't know if this interview is going to contain or include anybody that's new. I do know he's trying to get an interview with Katie. Hey, all of us are, all right? So he is out there trying to conduct another interview. So we'll see what happens, if he gets one with her, because I'm very interested to hear what she has to say. I think out of everybody's story, she's the one I want to hear from the most, because I want to hear, was it high or by? I want to hear, was he cuddling her in the water? Because if she says, hey, yeah, we were in the water cuddling, then why would Nolan's mom go out here and say it was just a high and by thing? Why would Nolan's mom lie on Katie? There's just some things that some people looking at this case do not want to open their eyes up and see. Sometimes it's hard to take the truth. Sometimes it's hard to swallow the truth. I understand that. But sometimes you need to hear the truth. Some people just don't want to hear it. They want to hear what they want to hear. But sometimes you need to hear what you need to hear. So there's been a lot of consistencies on the Ben Crump side that we deserve some answers for. And it just is. There's consistencies with that side along with Katie's testimony that we need to hear answers for. Now, do the police have these? I'm pretty sure they do. Do the police have more than what we know? Oh, they do. They're going to be doing a grand jury to see if anybody needs to be, indicted. And we're going to find out. Now, I will say, I do think that if they thought any of these boys' stories did not match up, this story is national news right now, a worldwide news. They don't want to make this police department look bad. They don't want to make it look like another Pima County incident with Sheriff Nanos out of Tucson. Okay? So I truly believe that if there was some sort of thing they found that, these are being covered up over here, I think somebody would go down just because they don't want to be the next Pima County. But you guys let me know what you think below, all right? And please like and subscribe. Please turn on notification bells. Comment below where you're watching from. If you just now start following from Nolan Wells, or even if you start following me from other videos. I know some of you guys have been following me videos from when I first started, which was not even a year ago. And we're already almost at 35,000 subscribers. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. All right. Join the membership if you can. It helps the channel grow. If you can't, that's fine. Dislike and subscribe. And please, until next time, love one another. Take care of one another. All right. Look out at your surroundings. Watch your surroundings. Until next time, this is Fugitive TV, and I'm out.